see the next slide. Lungs. Here you can see the lungs present in the thoracic cavity. There are different cavities in our body. Thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity, pelvic cavity. So they lie one after other. So in thoracic cavity, you can see one pair of spongy elastic lungs. Each is enclosed in double pleural membrane. So these lungs are enclosed under the pleural membrane. Double pleural, each and every delicate organ has a covering of protection. Heart is protected by pericardial membrane. Different names are there, different terms are there. We use the term cardiac when it is related to heart. So brain is also protected by the membrane. Shravani, network केलं. So outer parietal membrane and inner visceral membrane. Pleural membrane are classified into two: outer pleural membrane and inner visceral membrane. Lubricating fluid is secreted and present in between this membrane. It is called as pleural membrane. Pleural fluid. It is called as pleural fluid. There are different types of fluid in our body. Brain is protected by cerebrospinal fluid. Then heart is protected by pericardial fluid. Then a worm is protected by amniotic fluid. So different fluids are present in our body. Gastric fluid is present in stomach. Then in amniotic cavity, amniotic fluid is present. In semen, seminal fluid is present. In abdominal wall and pelvic cavity, peritoneal fluid is present. So like this, different fluids are present. You have to remember in lungs, surrounding to the lungs, there is pleural fluid. Membrane is called pleural membrane. Okay, so you have to remember all these names. Right lung is larger and has 3 lobes. You can see here in this diagram, there are 3 lobes in right lung, while in left lung there are 2 lobes. In right lung, how many lobes are there? 3. While in left lung, 2 lobes are there. Here you can see the structure of alveoli. These are the terminal bronchioles. You know the different terms like, for example, I will tell you, next part is circulation. During this time also you are going to study arterioles. Before that I will tell you aorta, which arises from heart. It is divided into artery. Yes. Then each artery is again divided into arterioles. These are the arterioles. Then vena cava, which enters into the heart. This large vena cava, it is again divided into smaller sub-branches called as veins. Again, these veins, they are divided into smaller sub-branches called as venules. So like this also you have to remember here, this bronchus is divided into right and left bronchioles. Bronchus. Again, bronchus is divided into smaller units called as bronchioles. Primary, secondary, tertiary bronchioles are present. So like this, arterioles, venules, bronchioles, you have to remember these terms. So it is very easy to remember like in this manner. So this is left main bronchus and this is right bronchus. Again, this bronchus is divided into bronchi, and bronchi, it is divided into bronchioles. bronchioles terminate into air sac-like cavities called as alveoli. So there are many alveoli surrounding or terminating to the bronchioles. It is shown here. So these are the terminal bronchioles which terminates into alveoli. These alveoli are the structural and functional unit of lungs. The structural and functional unit of bone is Haversian canal. The structural and functional unit of kidneys are nephrons. So like this, you have to remember. Every organ has a smaller subunits. So lungs has the structural and functional unit called as alveoli. Brain has the structural and functional unit. They are called as neuron. Then kidneys, they have structural and functional unit called as nephrons. Bones, they have structural and functional unit called as Haversian canal. So in this way, you have to remember. Now we will see the next slide. Alveoli, thin-walled bunch of grapes. You can see it in this diagram. 700 million alveoli are present in each lung. How many? 700 million alveoli. They are present in each lung. They are highly vascular. In plants, we had studied vascular bundles. Do you remember? Then they are xylem and phloem. These are the conducting tissue. But now we are studying about organism, animals. Here, vascular means they show the rich supply of blood vessel. Supply of blood vessel. That's why it is called as vascular. See here, terminal bronchiole. This terminal bronchiole is divided into alveolar sac. These are the small alveoli. They are called as alveolar sac. It shows the presence of blood vessels. So network is there. It is highly supplied with blood vessels. Alveolus. This is alveolus. Respiratory bronchioles. These are the respiratory bronchioles. Then pores of cone and canals of Lambert. I will tell you the difference here. See, what are the canals of Lambert? Here, this is alveoli. Another alveoli is lying near to it. So it forms the canals of Lambert. The passage or the space which is present in between the two alveoli, it is called as canals of Lambert. So this is the canal of Lambert. While what is pores of cone? When the two alveoli, they link together with the help of a passage. A passage is present between the two alveoli. See, I am showing it with the help of the diagram so that your concept will get clear. So these alveoli are connected to each other with the help of pores of cone. K-O-H-N. This is the pores of cone. And canals of Lambert, it is present in between the two alveoli. Alveolar capillary membrane, area of gas exchange, where exchange of gases, that is the oxygen which is present inside this alveoli enters inside the blood capillaries, while carbon dioxide which is present in blood capillaries enters into alveoli. We are going to study in the next part. So this is about the diagram which shows the alveolar sac, then it shows the fine branches of blood capillaries. So here Do you got the difference between pores of cone and canals of Lambert? Girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will see the next slide. Diaphragm. Muscular septum separating the thoracic and abdominal cavity. I had told you the difference between the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. In thoracic cavity, lungs, heart, etc. Then thyroid glands, they are placed. This is the cavity called as thoracic cavity. Below the thoracic cavity is the abdominal cavity. In this abdominal cavity, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, they are present. Pelvic cavity is also present, in which urinary bladder, then different organs related to excretory and reproductive system, they are present there. So thoracic cavity, next to thoracic cavity is abdominal cavity, and then it is pelvic cavity. Muscular septum. Diaphragm is the muscular septum separating the thoracic and abdominal cavity. It is dome shape. You can see the shape of diaphragm. It is dome shape. This is called as dome shape. Becomes flat on contraction. So while inspiration and expiration, the shape changes. When we inhale air, it becomes straight. While when we exhale, during that time, it becomes dome shape. So different shapes occurs while inhaling and exhaling air, and we are going to study in our next slide. Mechanism of respiration. It includes the following processes: breathing, external respiration, internal respiration, and cellular respiration. We are going to study one by one. So first is breathing. Next, external respiration. What is internal respiration and cellular respiration? We are going to study them. First, we will see about breathing. Breathing is a physical process. It involves, see the different organs, parts of the respiratory system involved in breathing. It is thoracic cage. This is called as thoracic cage. Then we can also see here ribs. Then sternum. This is also called as breastbone. This breastbone connects the pair of ribs which arises from this sternum. It is also called as breastbone, which is present in the center of the rib cage. Then intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscle means the muscles which connect to ribs. It is called as intercostal muscles. And diaphragm. So diaphragm is present here, which we had seen in our earlier slide. So this is the diaphragm. So the different organs involved in breathing: thoracic cage, ribs, sternum, intercostal muscles, and diaphragm. See here you can see intercostal muscles, muscles which connect to the ribs. It is the intercostal muscle. These are the ribs. This is the sternum, which is present here. Side view we can see here. Now see inspiration and expiration. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. In inhalation, atmospheric pressure is more and pressure in the lungs is less. So air moves inward. So in lungs, pressure is less as compared to the pressure in the atmosphere. So it moves from more pressure towards the less pressure. The opposite is true for exhalation. Inhalation के टाइम क्या होगा, जो बाहर का प्रेशर है वो हाई रहेगा as compared to the pressure which is present in the lungs. So here movement will take from higher pressure towards the lower pressure. Air flows in. Ribs move up and out. Diaphragm flattens. So you can experience your own. Take a deep breathing. अगर आप जोर से ब्रीथ इन करेंगे तो आपको ऐसे महसूस होगा कि जो रिब्स है वो रिब्स क्या हो गए, दे मूव आउट, अप, बाहर आ गए रिब्स, up and out, and the diaphragm which is present here in between the cavity, it flattens. You can experience your own. And during exhalation, what happens? The pressure inside the lung increases as compared to the pressure outside. So due to the increased pressure inside the lung, the air will move outside. So here in the diagram also it is shown, air flows out. During this time what happens? Ribs move down and in. आप जोर से श्वास बाहर निकालेंगे तो ब्रीथ आउट अगर फोर्सफुली या नॉर्मली भी करेंगे तो आपको एक्सपीरियंस होगा कि ये जो एक्सेल करते हैं हम तब रिब्स मूव डाउन एंड इन, अंदर के साइड वो रिब्स मूव हो जाएंगे एंड डायफ्राम बिकम्स डोम शेप. You can also experience the dome shape of the diaphragm. So this is inspiration and expiration. Now see the difference between inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, it is an active process, while expiration is passive process. It requires energy, that's why it is also called as active process. Contraction of intercostal muscles and relaxation of internal intercostal muscles occurs. क्या बताया? इंस्पिरेशन के टाइम कॉन्ट्रैक्शन, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो जाएंगे कौन से मसल्स? एक्सटर्नल इंटरकोस्टल, यानी बाहर से जो रिब के बाहर के जो मसल्स है इंटरकोस्टल मसल्स वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो जाएंगे और अंदर के जो मसल्स है वो रिलैक्स हो जाएंगे. इंटरकोस्टल मसल्स रिलैक्स and external intercostal muscles contract. While expiration, opposite process takes place. Relaxation of external intercostal muscles, that is muscles present in between ribs, which I had told you earlier. And contraction of internal intercostal muscles occur. Rib cage moves forward and outward. आप अगर इंस्पायर करेंगे, एयर इनहेल करेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि रिब केज मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड आउटवर्ड. अगर एक्सेल करेंगे तो आपको महसूस होगा रिब केज मूव्स डाउनवर्ड एंड इनवर्ड. डायफ्राम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स एंड बिकम्स फ्लैटेंड. ड्यूरिंग इंस्पिरेशन डायफ्राम बिकम्स contracts, diaphragm contracts and becomes flattened. Here diaphragm relaxes and becomes dome shaped. Increase in volume of thoracic cavity during inspiration, decrease in volume of thoracic cavity during expiration. Air pressure in lungs is less than atmospheric pressure. During expiration, air pressure in lungs is greater than atmospheric pressure. Intake of air into lungs, exhale or expulsion of air from the lungs. So with the help of this animation also you will be able to get your concept clear. See, during inspiration air will enter inside. Due to this the thoracic cavity will increase, and due to expiration the thoracic cavity will decrease. During inspiration the diaphragm becomes flattened. During expiration diaphragm will become dome shaped. then atmospheric pressure inside the lung becomes less during inspiration, and during expiration air pressure in the lungs is greater than the atmospheric pressure. Here air pressure will decrease during inspiration, but it will increase during expiration. So you should know about the difference between inspiration and expiration. It is very easy to remember. Any problem, girls?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. We will see the next slide. Now see, first was physical process, that is inspiration and expiration. Now see the second process, that is external respiration. During external respiration, exchange of gases takes place between alveolus and capillary. Oxygen diffuses from alveoli to capillaries. Carbon dioxide diffuses from capillaries to alveoli. I will explain you with the help of this diagram. See here. In our previous slide, I had told you there are 700 million alveoli in each lung. This is the structure of alveoli. Surrounding to this alveoli, there are blood capillaries. These are the blood capillaries which surrounds to the alveoli. So these are the blood capillaries. Are you getting it, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
When we inhale air, जब हम एयर इनहेल करेंगे तो नेजल कैविटी से क्या हो जाएगा, ये जो नेजल कैविटी है, नेजल कैविटी से एयर अंदर जाएगी, फिर यहाँ फेरिंग्स रहेगा. फेरिंग्स इज द कॉमन पाथ फॉर द ओरल कैविटी यानी बकल कैविटी, एंड नेजल कैविटी के लिए कॉमन पाथ रहेगा, इसको हम बोलते हैं फेरिंग्स. फिर फेरिंग्स में से एयर आ जाएगी लैरिंग्स में, लैरिंग्स में से एयर आएगी ट्रकिया में, ट्रकिया में से एयर पास हो जाएगी ब्रोंकस में, ब्रोंकस में से लेफ्ट और राइट लंग में पास हो जाएगा ये ब्रोंकस, ब्रोंकाई में ये डिवाइड हो जाएगा और ब्रोंक्यूल्स में ये जाएगी एयर, फिर ब्रोंक्यूल्स में से जाएंगे मिलियंस ऑफ एल्यूलाई में. ये एल्यूलाई इधर एक सिंगल एल्यूलाई दिखाया है आपको. तो ऑक्सीजन, ऑक्सीजन जो है ये इसमें एल्यूलाई में जाएगा. ये एरो दिखाया है आपको रेड कलर के एरो, ये किसके लिए दिखा है, ऑक्सीजन के लिए. तो ये एल्यूलाई में ज्यादा कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है ऑक्सीजन का. सो बाय द प्रोसेस ऑफ डिफ्यूजन, you know diffusion from higher concentration towards the lower concentration, जब मूवमेंट हो जाएगी तो इसको हम डिफ्यूजन बोलते हैं. तो ये ब्लड वेसल में ऑक्सीजन की लेवल कम है एज कंपेयर टू ऑक्सीजन लेवल इन एल्यूलाई, इसलिए ये ऑक्सीजन मूव कहाँ हो जाएगा, एल्यूलाई में से मूव हो जाएगा ब्लड वेसल में. समझ में आ रहा है मैं जो एक्सप्लेन कर रही हूँ गर्ल्स?
हाँ मैम.
हाँ, तो फिर डिफ्यूजन ये प्रोसेस से ऑक्सीजन जो हमने इनहेल किया है वो कहाँ जाएगा, ब्लड वेसल. और बाहर जो ब्लड वेसल का जो नेटवर्क है उसमें रेस्पिरेशन की वजह से ये जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड तैयार हो गया है, इंटरनल रेस्पिरेशन होता है, वो हम पढ़ने वाले हैं. ये कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड जो है, ये कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ब्लू कलर के एरोज है, उसमें से एक पैसेज में से बाहर चला जाएगा. यहाँ से ये नेजल कैविटी से कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बाहर जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे दिखा है देखो, ब्लड गोज टू पल्मोनरी वेन alveolus अभी ये जो ब्लड है ये पल्मोनरी वेन को जाएगा, ये हम सर्कुलेशन में भी देखने वाले हैं आगे। और यहाँ जो पल्मोनरी ये आर्टरी है, पल्मोनरी आर्टरी, पल्मोनरी आर्टरी के बारे में पता है, पल्मोनरी वेन और पल्मोनरी आर्टरी। Pulmonary artery is only the artery which contains deoxygenated blood, and pulmonary vein is only the vein which contains oxygenated blood. तो ये ऑक्सीजन पास होगा ये ब्लड वेसल में, ऑक्सीजन डिफ्यूजेस इनटू रेड ब्लड सेल। यहाँ पे रेड ब्लड सेल्स दिखा है, आपको दिख रही है इलेप्टिकल शेप में, ये रेड ब्लड सेल्स है, आरबीसी, इरिथ्रोसाइट्स, ये इरिथ्रोसाइट्स है, ये ऑक्सीजन इसमें जाएगा। कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड जो ये इसमें प्लाज्मा में है, ब्लड वेसल में है, वो एल्यूलाई में जाएगा, एल्यूलाई में से बाहर नेसल कैविटी से बाहर जाएगा। सो रेस्पिरेटरी मेम्ब्रेन्स आर आल्सो शोन हियर। These are the respiratory membrane. You can see here the respiratory membrane. Respiratory fluid is present. Can you tell me the name of the respiratory fluid? Surface fluid जो यहाँ पे है lungs में, क्या नाम बताया था मैंने? Girls, जरा याद करो membrane का नाम, fluid का नाम याद करो। अलग अलग फ्लूइड के नाम बताए थे मैंने, सेरिब्रोस्पाइनल फ्लूइड, सेमिनल फ्लूइड, एमनियोटिक फ्लूइड। तो इसमें लंग्स में कौन सा फ्लूइड बताया था? प्लूरल फ्लूइड। द नेम ऑफ द फ्लूइड इज प्लूरल फ्लूइड। इसमें कुछ डाउट है ये स्लाइड में?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Now see internal respiration. Components involved are gases like oxygen and CO2. Other component is RBC, or we call it as erythrocyte or red blood corpuscles, and plasma. Transport of oxygen. First we will see about transport of oxygen. 3% of oxygen is transported in dissolved state by plasma. It is transported in dissolved state. Do you know plasma? Blood contains plasma. Blood cells. Blood cells. We are going to study during the time of circulation. So the blood cells, these are the different types of blood cells. Surrounding to this blood cell, there is a fluid called as plasma. So 3% of oxygen is transported in dissolved state by plasma. Remaining 97% is bound to hemoglobin in RBCs. RBC, they show great affinity, high affinity towards oxygen. So plasma में कितना % ऑक्सीजन रहेगा? 3% only. While RBC में कितना ऑक्सीजन रहेगा? 97%. Hemoglobin has high affinity. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is protein which is present in RBC. It acts as oxygen carrier. It acts as oxygen carrier. Hemoglobin plus 4O2, it joins with hemoglobin. See here, in this reaction it is shown. Again, it dissociates into hemoglobin. Hemoglobin gets separated from oxyhemoglobin to form hemoglobin and oxygen. Any doubt, girls? We are
No,
going to
ma'am.
study in the next
No, ma'am.
slide also. So see here. Oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. Bohr effect. Name of the scientist is Bohr. That's why the name is given Bohr effect. It occurs in tissues and there is right shift of oxygen dissociation curve. You can see in this graph there is right shift towards the right side. Curve has been shifted. So right shift of oxygen dissociation curve is shown when CO2 pressure is higher. जब CO2 की लेवल ज्यादा रहेगी तो ऑक्सीजन का कर्व कौन से साइड जाएगा? राइट साइड जाएगा. So it is also termed cadet. CADET means factors affecting the Bohr's effect. They are carbon dioxide. A is for acidity. D is for diphosphoglycerate. We are going to study it. Diphosphoglycerate. E, exercise, and T is for temperature. So these are the different factors which causes Bohr's effect. Due to increase in carbon dioxide level, high pressure in the carbon dioxide, oxygen level, it has been showed with the help of this curve, with the help of this graph. Percentage of oxygen in hemoglobin. This is the Hb percent for O2 saturation. It is shown on this axis, and here oxygen per parts per million mm of mercury. Hg means it is related to mercury. We used to count this oxygen with the help of this unit. So these are the body tissue. Here it is shown. But if the concentration of carbon dioxide is increased, low pH will be there. If there is increase in concentration of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration decreases. So during this time, curve shifts towards the right side, these are the lung alveoli. High pH, low CO2, high pH, but high CO2, low pH, and normal CO2, it has been shown here in this graph. So oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve has been shown here. Oxygen and hemoglobin dissociation. In our previous slide, we had seen here, hemoglobin links with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, but it dissociates to form hemoglobin and oxygen. It is called cadet phase, right? Cadet, these are, you have to remember the factors. C is for carbon dioxide, A is for acidity. You can see here the increase in H value due to this low CO2. If high CO2, increase in H plus amount, so increase in acidity. D is for diphosphoglycerate, E is for exercise, and T is for temperature. These are the factors which which shows the Bohr's effect. Now see oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. Here in this diagram, oxygen is shown here, and these three are for hemoglobin. So on this axis, you can see percentage of oxygen saturation on hemoglobin. On this axis, partial pressure of oxygen is shown, PO2 in mm of Hg.